Welcome back to Hey Kentucky here up in Northern Kentucky in Cold Spring. Now joined by our good friend Jeff Piecoro. Jeff Piecoro is, of course, the color voice on UK football. He also does pregame and other things for the Cincinnati Reds. Let's start with this. We were going to talk mostly Reds, but UK football news, Matt House likely out as defensive coordinator to go to the Chiefs. How big a deal would this be for UK?
Well, I think it's a huge deal because he did such a great job. You saw what he did and what Josh and those guys talked about, how much they learned out of just being with him for the short time that he was here. But I can't fault the guy. I mean, it's the NFL, and that's really every coach's dream.
Yeah, but I don't think they can pay as much as
just,
a linebacker coach.
That's just it. I mean, you look at what look at the guy at Alabama, what he was making when he was in the NFL. Then he comes back and he's making what, $7, $8, $9, $10 million? They can't. I guess it's kind of the same situation they had with Vince Morrow. Is can they pay enough at UK to keep him here? He's in a great spot. He's got a great team returning. To me, I like to teach. I'm not a huge NFL guy anyway. I know you do the show and stuff, and that's fun. But to me, I'd rather be at this level. I mean, you've got such a great opportunity.
Him, I mean, like, can they find someone?
Well, I think I heard you and Ryan talk about, does Stoops go after his brother to help out or something? It's got to be a big hire.
I agree.
It's got to be.
Because you also lost so much talent.
Exactly.
As well. You've been around UK football a long time. Josh Allen, the best you've seen?
Gosh. He's right up there with, Art and Derek and those guys. He was that good. I was amazed at the transformation of him, too, since he got there until this final year that he just played his senior season. I mean, he transformed his body, and just a great kid, too. I'm so happy for him.
Let's switch gears.
Sure.
I'm trying to get into the Reds because I've tried and they've been bad for a while, and I'm not a huge baseball guy. But this year, they've all of a sudden brought in all these players. It looks like they might be competitive.
Well, I think the thing that they're doing is at least we're talking about them. Yeah. And in the last couple of off seasons, you pick up a 36-year-old pitcher who's on his last leg, and you hope you might get 10 starts. Now you got Puig. You got 3 really decent middle-of-the-rotation starters. They're going to give you some innings. They're going to give you some veteran leadership there. You get Kemp and Puig out in the outfield. I mean, now we're talking. They've always been able to score, and if these pitchers could do the job, I mean, it's a team that can be over 500 this year.
Cincinnati is a place that likes personality. Do you think Puig fits in with that? He's already been doing videos, walking around town, saying it's not cold out here. Like, you think he'll work out well?
I do. I like it. The one thing you get when you get a Cuban player or a Latin player, for that matter, is their enthusiasm for the game. It's totally different when you see ball being played in Dominican or Mexico and stuff. It's like going to a soccer game. They're singing the whole time. The players get into it. They're betting on the games. The fans are betting. He's just a kid that has a lot of enthusiasm.
As a Reds guy with Pete Rose, you can't be talking about betting on the games now. Come on.
It's out of this country, so it's okay.
Oh, so it's okay. Now, as far as like their chances, do they have a chance to maybe sneak into the playoffs this year?
I tell you what, man, you look at this division, it's the toughest in all of it, and nothing's even close. And I think that the teams within the division are going to be beating each other up a lot. So that means you've got to win all those games you play against the East, when you play against the American League. And I think the winner of this division may not even get to 90 wins. That's how tough this division is going to be. I mean, you get Goldschmidt going to St. Louis. I mean, the Cubs are always going to be the Cubs. The Brewers can score on anybody. It's going to be really tough. So I think the Reds can possibly vie for that second wild card spot, yeah.
All right, so now for people who don't know, how did you get into doing UK football and Reds baseball? On paper, that seems like two completely different things.
Well, football was easy. I played there, and it just kind of came about when Jim Host was still around. He asked me, hey, I think you'd be good at this. Come try out. I did, and Tom and I did a fake game and kind of like what you've done and stuff, and it worked out great. And one of my directors that I did with college basketball happened to be the director for the Reds and goes, hey, we're now going over to Fox from one of the local affiliates here in Cincinnati. We'd love to have you part of the team. That was 22 years ago. So
okay, still going
years.
strong.
Yeah, it's fun.
How good's UK football going to be next year?
It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be totally different than what it was last year. Last year they kind of built on defense. Next year, I think offensively is going to be really their offensive line. Terry's going to be really good. And I think Rose is going to have a huge season, much like Benny did.
Don't forget about Lynn Bowden.
Oh, Lynn's
You're going to have
awesome
those neck tats just like Lynn when it's all said and done.
If you do it, I would do it.
Well, if they're good enough, I might. If we get to 10 wins again, we'll see.
We might have to make that bet.
There you go. Jeff, nice to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks.